UK pushed France hard. Now migrants could be blocked mid-crossing. Have you heard the latest news? This is what's going on. You couldn't make this up. Oh God, what's going on now? Right, I've just found this out for you. Picture this. The waters between France and the UK, the notorious Channel crossing, which we all know about. But what if I told you that the rules have now changed, that France might now try to actually intercept the small boats before they head to the UK. Now, this is under pressure from the UK government, apparently. Apparently, that's what's going on. But we don't know, do we? We only know what we've been told. But apparently, this is what they're doing. And they're trying to put the UK first. Is that what they're doing? But what we know in life is that you've got to question everything. We know that, don't we? We've learned that in the past. So is anything going to change? Are France going to start tightening the restrictions? Well, we're going to find out what's going on, because today we're diving into the latest on this controversy. Is that how you pronounce it? Well, it's very dangerous, isn't it? The seas and the political pressure that's involved in this. That people are thinking, right, we can't have immigration. Obviously, a lot of people aren't happy about it. But again, you've got to think about human lives and how they're going to do these new tactics. Because basically, in a nutshell, well, we're going to find out anyway. But basically, the French are going to stop or interject the actual illegal immigrants coming into the UK. Anyway, we're going to find out exactly what's going on. So stick around, because this is going to get very interesting. So stay with me so you know exactly what's going on.
Analyzing the news.
There you go. You can see a little boat in the corner there. This just gives you a point of reference of what the bloody hell's going on. Just bear with me. Right, okay, we're here. We don't edit these videos, if you didn't notice. They're very live and it's all took in one shot, so there's no and and no messing about. But today we're going to be diving into the latest on what's going on, the dangers of the seas, the political pressures of human lives, and the new tactics that apparently the French are going to get involved in, and they're going to save the day. In other words, they're going to stop things from taking place. In other words, they're going to try and make life a little bit easier. Not for the illegal immigrants, they're going to make it a lot harder, but they're going to be easier in the way that illegal immigration's not going to be so congruent, so easy to get into the UK. So let's find out. So stick around. There's a lot to unpack here. Some wild moves, though. I want you to engage and interact with these videos, because it's not just about me waffling on. I want to know what you think, what your thoughts are on these things that we're going to go into. So what's this all about? Let's get the news article up here so you can see it. It says here, France is backing away from pledge to intercept migrant boats, sources tell the BBC. I don't know if I can play that. Will it let me play it? I might get done for copyright, so I've got to be careful. Yeah, it's not going to play it, but it doesn't matter. Try again, it says. But again, there it is. It's there all on the BBC. You can see it all there on their website, okay? And if you look, there's an image there of basically what the police are doing. But if they just took that just for the camera, who knows? But apparently this is what they're doing. It says the people crossing the English Channel in small boats. It says, can you see the map there? It says 50,000. Can you see it? That was in 2022 compared to 2021 when it was only 10,000. Now that's only what we know, but again, I imagine the numbers are a lot higher than that. But again, it's all there on the BBC website. But we're going to delve into this in a lot more detail, just so you get a clearer understanding of what is actually going on. So stick around with me. So recently, France agreed to start intercepting small migrant boats in the Channel after growing pressure from the UK. Essentially, the police in France might now act at sea, not just on land. Now, they're saying they're going to stop boats before they sail off with migrants. So obviously they go to France first and then they come over to the UK, but now the police are going to go into the waters and stop them. Now, this shift from the past, when French authorities would typically wait until they were on shore, on the land, and only then they would rescue people if they were in danger. But at the minute, they're thinking, well, if we catch you in the sea, now we're gonna get involved. In other words, what are they going to do? Are they going to slash the boats? Because that has happened in the past. But let me know what you think. What do you think? Should countries be allowed to do this? To intercept boats like this? Or is it just a bit too harsh? When they say intercept's another word for, we're going to stop you from doing this by any means possible. That means if you're on a dinghy, we're going to cut the boat. Now, if you cut that boat, then people are going to drown. And you think this is a joke? I'm not joking. This is what's kind of going on. But what do you think? Should countries be allowed to intercept boats like this? Or is it a bit too harsh? But again, the French are getting a lot of stick and pressure from the UK. The deal behind it is that UK-France cooperation, this is what it's all boils down to, because this change comes after a new deal between the UK and France, under which the French have agreed to update the maritime doctrine, which basically is the rules about when and how it can act at sea, because there's certain laws at sea. In other words, you can't just do what you want. But again, it's all changing now because new powers have come into play, new pressures have happened. They're saying we've got to stop it. By any means, I don't know, but we're going to find out. So part of the deal also includes a one in, one out. You've heard about this. It's a policy that apparently come into place when one comes in, one goes out, but it's not happened, has it? For each migrant returning to France under that deal, the UK may accept a legal asylum seeker, for instance, with family ties in Britain. That means you have to have family connections. In other words, they have to be related to someone in the UK. And if they're not, then they're not coming in. This is what they're saying. But does it make it true? I don't know. But the aim makes crossing riskier, less successful, and discourages dangerous journeys. So what they're saying, the government, we're trying to make it hard for them, as hard as possible. So at the minute, they're getting on the boats, they're just coming over. They're not being interjected, but now they're going to be. That means if they're caught, which they will get caught, remember, they're in a bloody dinghy, for crying out loud. You've got France, you've got warships. I think they can spot them. And if they say they can't, they're full of crap, aren't they? It's mad, isn't it? It literally is mad. But this is the stuff we're fed, so that's why we've got to question everything all the time. So under the new rules, French police may intervene when taxi boats, that's what they call them, which are boats smugglers used to pick up the migrants just off the coast. And that's the point, when they're just about to leave. And once they've left and they're over the water, as soon as they hit English or British soil, that means they can seek asylum legally. But between France and the UK, the waters, this is the bit where the law sort of doesn't, this is a loophole, isn't it? And this is what, once they get out, that's it. So what they're trying to do is stop them from getting past a certain point in the sea. One method they're saying is they're going to possibly use nets to catch the boats. Nets? That's a bit dangerous. You're in a bloody dinghy in the sea and they're using nets. I don't think that's going to go down too well, is it? Now, the French police have already been filmed slashing inflatable dinghies in shallow waters. Now, that's shallow waters, which is fair enough. A dramatic and controversial tactic, some people may say. But it's in shallow water. That means it's not deep. Your boats, you can't go anywhere. So now you're stuck on the land. Right, you're not in danger, are you? If they slash the boat while it's in the middle of the sea, that's a different story. But officials say they're trying to act before the migrants even get on board. So if they slash the boat, then they can't even get on the boat. Now, they're doing that to reduce the risk and stay with international maritime laws. Maritime laws is basically law at sea. So why now? Why the change? What is going on? Okay, so because the number of small boat crossings have surged lately, because it's getting bigger and bigger, it's much higher than ever before. And the UK government has repeatedly pressed France to close what they call a loophole. That's what I was saying before about the loophole. When they're out at sea, it's sort of a line that they can, once they're out, you can't really do anything once you get past that point. But that once migrants are actually in the water, French police traditionally couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything because they're in the water. So now it's changing, apparently. With the new agreement and doctrine change, France is trying to respond, at least on paper. But again, that's why we've got to question everything, isn't it? Question everything all the time. Take nothing at face value. The problem is the danger and the legal concerns. Not everyone is happy about this. The union representing some French Coast Guard says intercepting boats up to 300 meters offshore is deadly and very risky for migrants and the police as well. So they've got concerns with the police as well. They don't want the police to be putting their lives in danger. And they're saying using nets and slashing dinghies, intercepting at sea, there's critics, and obviously they will be, and they warn it could lead to shipwrecks or drowning or other tragedies, which it bloody will. It will. Now, some argue it breaches international laws and conversations around rescue at sea, meaning you can't do that because you literally, it's manslaughter, isn't it? If you slash a dinghy and someone's in a boat, but they can't swim, can they? They're in the middle of the sea. They're going to die. They're going to drown. It's not bloody rocket science, is it? But I want to ask you a question about this. Remember, this is an interactive thing that we do. I want to know your comments. Do you think this strategy is worth it? If it saves some lives, or is it too risky for people trying to escape danger? This is the thing we're always told. Illegal immigration, they're coming here because they're escaping danger. What danger are these escaping? This is what we need to find out, because why is it always young men? Why is it not women and children? This is the argument. Why is it always men, always men, always men? It's very few women and children. But do you think this strategy is worth it? If it saves some lives, or is it too risky for people trying to escape danger? In other words, would you do it? Would you escape your country on a dinghy knowing that the chances are the French police are going to slash my boat? And then the worst thing that can happen, I'm just going to be ported back or deported back. But they're not going to slash it in the middle of the sea, but they're going to slash it as they're getting into the water. What do you think? Let me know, because earlier this year there was footage of a police officer in France slashing a dinghy carrying migrants, and this was a sign they were trying out new tactics. But they've got to try different things, haven't they? Because what they're doing now isn't working. If you look back to October 2025, there was some reports said that France might be backing away from full-on interception, maybe because they realise the risks, or they'll hit political roadblocks. What it basically means, they're getting told to do something, but they're like, well, what do you want us to do? They say, well, you need to stop it. I said, but how do we stop it? And he said, but you have to stop the boats. They said, well, how do we stop the boats? The only thing we could do is fire at the boats. But we could shoot someone, couldn't we, if we're firing from a distance? Or we could go right up to them and slash them. Slash the boats. But then other people say, well, you can't do that because that's wicked, that's cruel. Because all they're doing is trying to escape danger. But on the other hand, people are saying, well, we don't want illegal immigrants coming in. So it's sort of a balancing act. Some insiders even described the earlier promise to intercept as just a political stunt. In other words, just to get votes. And again, more than likely that is the case, isn't it? Again, that's why you have to question everything. Question everything all the time. All the time. Do not take anything at face value. Again, I want to know your thoughts on this. What do you think? Put your comments below. Share what your thoughts are. What other options have they got? The thing is, they're getting here. They're in boats. What other thing can you do? Let me know, because I don't know and they don't know. So they're only trying what they can, and that's the only thing that they think that they can do. But again, they're getting backlash from the public, but the government are saying stop the boats. Well, how do you want me to stop them? Let me know. You let me know in the comments. What do you think? Maybe we could give them some advice. What's the safest way to do it? We don't really know how far France will go with this or whether it will work long term. But again, the implication is in place, but it is very messy. And here's my view. On paper, the plan sounds logical. If you want to reduce dangerous crossing, but the sea is very unpredictable. If you start intercepting boats, even near shores, things can go wrong. People's lives, smugglers, desperation, sea conditions is a very messy mix. And even if it works, does it solve the root issues? Where are people coming from? Where are they coming from? And why are they coming here? Why aren't we focusing on that? Why we just say, oh, they're in danger? What's the danger? Isn't it cheaper to, right, okay, we're going to go and fix this danger. We're going to be like Superman and we're going to fly. We've got an army. We'll fly to the source and we'll get rid of the root problem. We'll get rid of the danger for you. Is that not a good thing to do? Would that not make sense? I don't know. You let me know. There's also the moral side. Should we risk lives to block migration? Because people are going to die. It's as simple as well. If you start slashing boats in the sea, it's inevitable, isn't it? Something bad is going to happen. So you've just got to be aware of that. Always be aware of it. But I want to know what you think. What's your comments? Because one thing is clear. This isn't just about law enforcement. It's about humanity and desperation. But my question to you is, what would you do if you were in charge? If you were in charge, you made all the decisions. Would you support these interceptions or look for different solutions? Let me know in the comments. And if you did do a different solution, what would it be? And how do you think that would work? Believe me, you need to start talking about it, because the people in power, the politicians, are sort of scratching their heads like, we don't know. Well, someone must know something. Someone must know something. Because at the moment, the government's getting it completely wrong, aren't they? And yet, how many times do you get it wrong before you get it right? So what's to watch for next? So they say keep an eye on this, because will France actually roll out the full plan? Will we see nets in the water, more interceptions, or more footage like the dinghy slashing video? I'm not going to put it on, it's horrible. But if you go on YouTube, you'll probably see it unless they banned it. Also, what will happen if people are rescued or intercepted, and will it reduce the actual crossings or just force smugglers to get even more creative? You got to remember, this is an underbelly. Let's say all these illegal immigrants, we demonize them, but maybe they are desperately just getting away. The people who are making the money is not the illegal immigrants, it's the smugglers. Smugglers are a gang. So they're making a lot of money here, right? So shouldn't they go after the smuggler gangs? It's not bloody rocket science, is it? And finally, where will the public opinion go? Support, backlash, or calls for safer alternatives? Let me know what you think in the comments. Again, let's get the news up so you can see it again. Like I say, it's all there. You've got the information. You can see a boat there and it's approaching, but you see it's in shallow waters. They're not getting them when they're deep in water. They're getting them when it's shallow. So at least they're doing that right. So the risk isn't high. Like you can see the police officer there. Look how deep the water is. It's only up to his knees. So that's not dangerous, is it? Really? It's like, come on, get out. But it's all there for you. You can see it all on the BBC. Like you can see him coming out of the boat there. But look, the water's shallow. It's not deep water. It would be a nice experience. But it's not life-threatening, is it? Possibly if there's children there. Because you get hypothermia, especially in the winter. It's dangerous, isn't it, in that sense? But that's why they're trying to interject while the waters are actually shallow. So yeah, this is a new plan. To intercept small boats is a big shift. It could change everything about the Channel crossing crisis, but it's risky. But what else can they do? Personally, I think we have to take care of people's lives first, and any policy they're going to consider needs to be considered with fairness and humanity. But what do you think? Drop your thoughts below, and if you like this breakdown, smash the like button, share and subscribe, because it's an interesting subject and there's a lot more stuff that we're going to go into. But again, I want to know your comments. Again, it's about you. What do you think? What should we do? What's the answer? What's the solution? What do we do? Do we just keep on playing the same game? We slash the boat so they can't go any further. They'll just get another boat. That's all they'll do. Or do we go to the course? Do we go to the snake and chop its head off? In other words, go for the smugglers. Because they're the ones who are making all the money. Because without the smugglers, you don't see a single person, one person on their own in a boat on their own, do you? It's organised crime. So why aren't they focusing their attention on that? Maybe they are, they're just not announcing it. Maybe they know what they're doing. The government and the police are all working together. I'm like, we'll get them, we know who they are. But why is it taking so long? Because I look at this, if there was thousands and thousands of British people just going missing across a boat, leaving Britain, it'd be all over the news. And everyone would be like, what's going on? Why is all white British people going over dinghies, hundreds of thousands? They're not going to go, oh, because we don't know, we can't do anything about it. They'd be on it, and they'd find out who was organising it like that. And you know that. So why can't they do it the opposite way around? Doesn't make sense, does it? Try and make sense of it for me, because I bloody can't. But anyway, that's what's going on in the news. Anyway, I hope you learned something. Just trying to keep you informed about what's going on in the world that we live in, the crazy world that we live in, and it's going to get crazier. But there you go. That's what's been announced. Are they saying that to quieten down the people who want to stop the illegal immigrants? If we say this, then it'll shut them up for 5 minutes. Like I say, is it a political tactic? What's the reality? It's like the government might say one thing, but they'll do another. But we know they say a lot, but do a little. And when the things that they do, they don't talk about it. And you think, well, what are they doing? Is it a good thing? No, it's usually bad. It's like a magician, isn't it? What do they do? Distraction. Look here. And then they'll thingy. That's what a thief does, isn't it? So they all just trick in the book. Deception. But we don't know. I don't know. Maybe you know. Share it in the comments. Let me know. Anyway, if you have commented, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I'm going to have a look through these comments and see what they say and see your opinion on things and your thoughts. But until next time, guys, take care and God bless.